हेलो एंड वेलकम टू एग्ज़ाम वैट। अभी तक आपने देखा कि पिछले कुछ वीडियोस में हमने गंगा रिवर सिस्टम और इंडस रिवर सिस्टम के बारे में बात किया। तो आज हम बात करेंगे ब्रह्मपुत्रा रिवर सिस्टम के बारे में, जो कि नॉर्थ ईस्ट की एक लाइफलाइन मानी जाती है। सो बिफोर स्टार्टिंग द लेसन आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट यू टू प्रेस द बेल आइकन एंड सब्सक्राइब अवर चैनल एग्ज़ाम वैट फॉर मोर इन्फॉर्मेटिव वीडियोज़ लाइक दिस. So, if you are preparing for CUET examinations or NET JRF examinations, river system of India is an important topic which comes under geography of India. So, I request you to pen down all the important informations which I will be providing you in this video, which will be beneficial for your examinations. Okay, so let me start with the topic. So, before talking about the drainage basin, the river system of the area, let's talk about the general physiography of the region. So if you see a physical map of northeast region of India, what you will see is it is surrounded by mountains on the eastern side as well as on the northern side. So if you see this region, here are trans-Himalayan mountain ranges. Okay, this is Greater Himalaya, this is Middle Himalaya, and this is Outer Himalaya. These are all the ranges of Himalaya. So if you look at the elevation profile, the height decreases as we move towards the south. What this means is the direction of slope is from north to south. Okay, this is the general slope of the region. And if you look at the eastern side, so here are Patkai Bum, Naga Hill, Manipur Hill, Mizo Hill, then here Tripura Hills. Okay, these are small hills. These are called Purvanchal Himalayas. And here are Meghalaya Plateau. So this is an elevated region, and this all are also elevated region. So what this means is that if any water body is originating from this side of the mountains, okay, so it will flow in this direction, here, likewise here, okay. So if any of the river is originating from these ranges, it will either flow eastward, or if it is westward, or if it is originating from other side, it will flow eastward. Fine. So this will be the general direction of flow of the rivers. And any river which is originating in the state of Meghalaya, if it is originating on the north side of these plateau region, Meghalaya plateau region, Garo Hill, Khasi Hill and Jaintia Hill, if it is originating in this region, it will flow in this direction. And if it is originating from the southern side, it will follow the southern course. Okay, so this will be the general direction of river originating in this area. So I want you to please keep this fact in mind, because if you remember this point, the basic profile of the rivers, their direction of flow as well as discharge, all things will be very much clear to you if you just remember this thing. Rivers originating from the northern side will follow the course. Okay, the Assam Valley is low lying region. This is a low lying region. So what will happen? They will descend down the mountains, and then they will follow the general direction of the Assam Valley, and then likewise they will flow westward, and then they would enter in Bangladesh and descend into and discharge their waters into Bay of Bengal. So this would be the general setting, general physiography on which rivers will play. Fine. So this was a general introduction of the physiography of the region, which will determine the direction of flow. Fine. Now let's talk about the rivers. So I'll give you a general idea about Brahmaputra river system, and then we will be talking about its major tributaries. Okay, so Brahmaputra river system is one of the largest river basin of the world. Fine. Although India shares a very small percentage of area of the basin, but it is a lifeline for the people of northeastern region, because it acts as a water source as well as it acts as an important transport system, because Brahmaputra river system is used for transportation in northeastern part of the country. Okay, so if you know the stretch from Sadia to Dhubri in Assam on Brahmaputra river, it is a part of national waterway 3. Okay, so do remember these points. Now let's start with the river system. So okay, this is the map of Brahmaputra river. Fine, this is the general map of Brahmaputra river. So it is originating somewhere here, okay, near Mansarovar lake, and then it is flowing eastward. It flows eastward up till Indo-Tibet border at a point called Namcha Barwa, from where it takes a U-turn, and here is a syntaxial bending of Himalaya. So Himalaya also take a U-turn and spread down as northeast hill, and Brahmaputra river also follows that syntaxial bending and flows downward. Okay, it enters through Arunachal Pradesh, then it enters Assam, it flows through Assam, and then finally descending into Bangladesh. From Bangladesh, in Bangladesh, it merges with Ganga river, which is known as Meghna or Padma there, and it discharges its water in Bay of Bengal, forming one of the largest delta in the world called Sundarban deltas. Okay, so if you look at the basin map of Brahmaputra river system, you will see that it is spread over 3 countries: Tibet in the north, then India, and then near its mouth Bangladesh. So it spreads across 3 countries. Fine. And if you talk about the states in which Brahmaputra river flows in India, so it comes in India in Arunachal Pradesh, then it enters Assam, and then it goes straight into Bangladesh. So two states are directly fed by the waters of Brahmaputra river. But if you talk about the river system, okay, the Brahmaputra river along with all its tributaries, so all the northeastern states, all 7 northeastern states along with Sikkim and West Bengal, they are fed by waters of Brahmaputra river system. So Sikkim, West Bengal, Assam, Meghalaya, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur and Mizoram along with Tripura. Okay, so all the states are in the catchment area of Brahmaputra river. Fine. So let's jot down some important facts about the system. So Brahmaputra river originates from Chema Yungdung glacier in Kailash range. Okay, if you have seen my video on Indus river system, the description is in the video. So video description, if you haven't seen, you can see it from there. There I had talked about the Kailash ranges. Okay, so Kailash ranges is a central elevated portion. So it is just like Amarkantak plateau in center India. So on the north side of Kailash range, the Brahmaputra river is originating. From the southern side, Ghagra river is originating. From the south western side, Satluj river is originating, and from the western side, Indus river is originating. So it is a central elevated portion. It is completely covered by snow. Okay, and its glacier melt waters are feeding these rivers. Fine. So Brahmaputra river also originates from Kailash range. The name of the glacier is Chema Yungdung glacier. Okay, and this is the name of the glacier which is given in NCERT book. So I would request you to follow this name only, because in examination they will ask you this name only. There are many contrasting opinions among authors regarding the origin, but I request you to follow this name only. So Chema Yungdung glacier is the source of Brahmaputra river system. It is situated at the height of 5300 meters. Okay, and it is very close to Mansarovar lake. Fine. So it is separated by Mariam La Pass. Okay, Mariam La Pass separates Brahmaputra river from Mansarovar lake. So on one side of the pass, Brahmaputra river system is flowing, and on the other side there is Mansarovar lake. So in Tibet, or near its source, okay, near its source, the Brahmaputra river is called Tamchok Khamba Kangdi. It is called Tamchok Khamba Kangdi near its source. And during its course in Tibet, it is called Sangpo. Okay, Sangpo means purifier. So Brahmaputra river is a holy river in Tibet also. It receives one of its important tributary, which is called Rango Sampo in Tibet. Okay, it is an important right bank tributary of Brahmaputra river in the Tibet region. Okay, and in Tibet, the Brahmaputra river is flowing in this direction. It is flowing eastward, and it is flowing between Kailash range in the north. Okay, Kailash ranges in the north and Greater Himalaya ranges in the south. So these two ranges, in between these two ranges, the Brahmaputra river is flowing, Sangpo river is flowing. Okay, and it follows the Indo-Sangpo suture zone. Okay, there is a rift, there is a suture zone which is followed by the Tsangpo river in Tibet. Okay, and it flows for about 1200 kilometers in Tibet. So it follows its easterly course for about 1200 kilometers in Tibet up till the point where it is reaching Namcha Barwa, a place, okay, very close to Arunachal border. So when the river reaches here, what it does, it changes its direction and it forms a deep gorge here. It cuts through the mountain and turns southward. So it forms a deep gorge here. Okay, what is a gorge? Gorge is a very narrow and steep valley. Gorge is a very narrow and steep valley, and it is basically of river origin. Okay, because river has cut through the mountains, and the same gorge is cut by Brahmaputra river near the Arunachal Tibet border. Fine, on Namcha Barwa mountain ranges. So from there, river turns southward and then flows eastward. It flows eastward and enters India. Okay, near Arunachal Pradesh, it before turning south, entering India, it forms a gorge and then thereafter it enters Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, so in Tibet, the course of river is dry. So if you see this map, okay, so I would say Brahmaputra river is flowing from here. Okay, so if Brahmaputra river is flowing from here, the Himalayas act as a barrier to monsoon bearing winds. So monsoon bearing winds will not be able to cross the mountain ranges. Okay, they will not be able to cross the mountain ranges. So it is not rain fed, it is glacier fed. So because of which region its course is very narrow in Tibet. Okay, and it is filled with sediments. It carries tremendous amount of sediments with it in its course in Tibet. Fine, but when it enters Arunachal Pradesh, it goes through rainier parts because it is cutting across Great Himalaya ranges, Namcha Barwa, and then it is coming to Middle Himalayas. Okay, so monsoon bearing winds do enter Middle Himalayan ranges. So it receives tremendous volume of rainfall, and due to which it becomes a swift flowing river in India. Okay, so it enters India in Arunachal Pradesh through Upper Siang district. Fine. In Arunachal Pradesh, it is known as Dihang or Siang river. Do remember. So in Tibet, Brahmaputra river is called Tsangpo, and in Arunachal Pradesh, it is called Dihang or Siang. Okay. After entering Arunachal Pradesh, it follows a southerly course. So if you see the map of Brahmaputra, it is taking a U-turn here, and then it enters Arunachal Pradesh, and afterward it follows a southerly course. Okay. So if we consider this as the boundary of India, okay, so here is Arunachal Pradesh and this is Upper Siang region. Fine. So Brahmaputra river is following a southerly course in Arunachal Pradesh state. It enters through Upper Siang district and then it flows southward. Just on entering Assam at a place called Sadia. So Sadia, do remember this place because it enters Brahmaputra rivers enters plains from Sadia. So on entering Sadia, it receives two important tributaries, the Dihang river and the Lohit river. Okay, so two rivers join here, Brahmaputra river, and these two are important water source for Brahmaputra river. Okay, they carry innumerable volume of water. In fact, Lohit river carries as much water as is carried by Brahmaputra river during its course in Tibet. So now on receiving water of these two rivers, the breadth of river increases. Okay, so it becomes a swift flowing river and it forms the plains of Assam Valley. Okay, so Brahmaputra is it on entering Assam, the Siang river or Dihang river changes into Brahmaputra. Okay, so the name of now it is known as Brahmaputra after entering the valley of Assam. So it flows westward in Assam. Now it again changes its course and starts flowing westward. Fine, in Assam it flows in this direction, westward, and it has highly braided and wide channel. the channel is very wide and it is braided. Braided means there are innumerable sandbars and barrier deposits in the course of river. Okay, so if a river is flowing in this direction, there will be innumerable small islands, sandbars in the river. This is because river is carrying tremendous amount of silt, which it is depositing on the side, forming flood plains. Okay, so here it forms flood plains, and in this area it is depositing sandbars. Okay, and you need to note down the largest riverine island, Majuli Island, which is also UNESCO World Heritage Site, is also situated in Brahmaputra river itself. Okay, the largest riverine island, Majuli Island, is found in Brahmaputra river itself in the state of Assam. Fine, and its length from Sadia to Dhubri in Assam Valley is 750 kilometers. So the total length of Brahmaputra river is considered to be around 2900 kilometers, and its length in Assam Valley is just 750 kilometers, but it is innumerable tributaries. Around 20 tributaries are joining it in Assam Valley itself. Fine, so out of the 20 tributaries, 13 are from its north bank, and 20 tributaries are on its north bank and 13 tributaries are on its south bank. Okay, so the major tributaries of Brahmaputra river, we will do it. Let's read the other point. So I was telling you about names of Brahmaputra river. So it is called Sangpo in Tibet. In Arunachal Pradesh it is called Siang or Dihang. In Assam it is called Brahmaputra, and when it enters Bangladesh it is called Jamuna and Meghna, and when it merges with waters of Ganga river system or Padma river, it is called Padma. Fine, so these are the different names of Brahmaputra river. So the total catchment area of Brahmaputra river is extremely large, 5,80,000 square kilometers, and the annual discharge volume, it means discharge, the water discharge. Okay, so every year Brahmaputra river is discharging water at an average rate of 19,820 cubic meters per second in Bay of Bengal. Okay, and the average annual sediment load, that means the amount of sediment it is carrying. So on an average it is believed that every year Brahmaputra river is depositing 735 million metric tons of sediment in Bay of Bengal. So that is the reason why we assume that Bay of Bengal, the Ganga Brahmaputra delta is expanding, because tremendous volume of sediment is deposited every year, expanding the delta in the sea. So the flood discharge, specific flood discharge is 0.149 cubic meters per square kilometer. Okay, and it is only next to Amazon in terms of specific yield. Specific yield refers to the amount of sediment, okay, to total amount of sediment divided by the length of river. So we get we get the ratio of how much sediment is carried by a per kilometer area of the river. So we get to know that about 87 hectare meter per square centimeter of kilometer of sediment is the specific yield of Brahmaputra river system. Okay, now let's talk about the tributaries. So these are the left bank tributaries and these are the right bank tributaries. Okay, the map here shows some of the important tributaries only. So since Brahmaputra river is flowing in the direction from east to west, okay, so all the river joining from this side will be left bank tributaries, and all the river joining from this side will be right bank tributaries of Brahmaputra river system. So the important tributaries, these two are in Tibet, the left bank tributaries are in Tibet, and thereafter Dibang, Lohit, these two are important tributaries. So here is Dibang. Okay, let me just erase this. Okay, so this is Dibang. Okay, this is Dibang river, it is joining Brahmaputra river here. This is Lohit river, it is joining Brahmaputra river from left side. Then this is a small river called Buri Dihing. Okay, it originates in Assam Himalaya section only, and it is very small river, but it is It is also known for changing its course very rapidly, and it has a very meandering course. Then Dikhu River, it originates in Manipur and Nagaland. Dhansari River originates from Manipur and joins from the left side. Then Kopili is an important south bank or left bank tributary, and it is considered as the largest tributary of Brahmaputra in Assam Valley. Okay, Kopili River, and thereafter from here Barak River also joins Brahmaputra River. Okay, so these are important left bank tributaries of Brahmaputra river system. Digaru, Dudhnai, Krishnai, Jinjiran, Kulsi and Bhogdoi. These are very small rivulets and they are not mentioned in this map here, but you don't need to remember them also. You just remember these names only because these are important tributaries. Likewise, the important right bank tributaries. So the river joining from this side. So the first river which joins it after entering it in India is Siang River. Okay, Subansiri. Sorry, Siang is the name of the Brahmaputra River itself in Arunachal Pradesh. It is first joined by Subansiri River, then Bharali River. Okay, Bharali or Kameng, both. Then Manas River is here. Barnadi is here. Sankosh River determines the boundary between West Bengal and Assam. Then Teesta. Fine. So you see the names Subansini, Kameng, Dhansari, Manas, Sankosh, Jaidhal, Puthimari, Pagladai, Champagmati, Sarabhanga, Ai, Teesta, Rayadaka, Torsha, Jaldhaka. These four, Teesta, Rayadaka, Torsha, Jaldhaka, these all rivers are joining Brahmaputra river in Bangladesh. Okay, and these all join in Assam Valley itself, but these four rivers are joining it in Bangladesh. Fine. Okay, so now what we will do, we will look at some of the important tributaries, their source, their course, and then where they join the Brahmaputra river and any significant point associated with them. So let's start with the first river. So see, this is the left bank tributaries: Subansiri River, Kameng River, Manas River, Sankosh River, Torsha River, Jaldhaka River, and then Teesta River. Okay, these all are the right bank tributaries of Brahmaputra river system. Now let's look at them one by one. So Subansiri River, it originates in the mountains of Tibet. It originates very close to Indo-Tibet border. Okay, it is glacier fed river and it is also an antecedent river. Like Brahmaputra river is an antecedent river because it cuts across all the ranges of Himalaya, and Subansiri river is also one of the antecedent river. Fine. Its total length is 442 kilometers, out of which 192 kilometer is in Arunachal Pradesh and 190 kilometer is in Assam, and the rest is in Tibet. It flows to Arunachal Pradesh and Assam, and it joins Brahmaputra river in Lakhimpur district. Okay, so Lakhimpur district is the place in Assam where Brahmaputra river is joined by Subansiri river. So do tell me if you have seen, or if you know, if you have seen the Ganga river system, then there is an important river which is flowing from Lakhimpur district in UP. Do tell me its name in the comment section if you know. Okay, the next river is called Kameng River. So Kameng River also originates from Indo-Tibet border. Okay, this is Kameng River. It originates very close to Indo-Tibet border and it also flows southward. So Subansiri also flows southward and Kameng also flows southward. So Kameng flows for a length of about 250 kilometers, out of which 90 kilometers is in Arunachal Pradesh and 60 kilometers is in Assam. And it flows through West Kameng district of Arunachal Pradesh and Sonitpur district of Assam. It enters plain at Bhalukpong, okay, and it joins Brahmaputra river at Tezpur. The Pakke Tiger Reserve, situated in Arunachal Pradesh, is on the banks of Kameng river only. Fine. So these were two right bank tributaries. Now the third right bank tributary, Manas River. So Manas River, there is also national park named on this river only because it is situated in the catchment area of Manas River itself. So Manas National Park, famous for one-horned rhinos and Royal Bengal tigers. So Manas River is originating from southern Bhutan, okay, the southern hills of Bhutan, and its total length is 376 kilometer. So this is Manas River, okay, this is Manas River, this is the Arunachal Pradesh Bhutan boundary, this is Assam, and here is Manas River. So Manas River is originating from the southern hills of Bhutan, okay, and it flows southward, and on flowing southward it enters into the plains of Assam near Mathangudi, and near Mathangudi it bifurcates into two parts. One of the east part called Beki, which flows eastward. So if Manas is flowing like this, on reaching Mathangudi it bifurcates into two parts. This part flowing eastward is called Beki, and the part flowing westward is called Manas, okay. So Manas is the part flowing from western direction and Beki is the part flowing from eastern direction. The river bifurcates near Mathangudi, okay, fine, and it meets Brahmaputra near Jogi Ghopa. Jogi Ghopa is a place where Manas river meets Brahmaputra river. Now the other right bank tributary, so Sankosh river. This is Sankosh river meeting Brahmaputra river. So Sankosh river rises in Bhutan Himalayas, and in Bhutan it is called Punasang. Punasang is the name of Sankosh river in Bhutan Himalaya, fine. It flows between Assam and Bengal border. I have already told you the border of Assam and West Bengal is determined by Sankosh river, and it joins Brahmaputra river on entering Bangladesh. Teesta river is one of the important river and one of the most westernmost tributary of Brahmaputra river, you can say, okay. So Teesta river is originating in Sikkim Himalayas. See this map, see Teesta river is originating in Sikkim Himalayas, okay. It originates very close to the Guru Dongmar peak in Sikkim, in North Sikkim. So Teesta river originates near So Lamo Lake in Sikkim at an altitude of 5,330 meters, and the total length of Teesta river is 309 kilometers, okay. So in Sikkim, Teesta is joined by two tributaries. So if we extend this here, so here Rangit and from here Rangpo, okay. Rangit is the largest river of Sikkim. So Rangit and Rangpo, these are the two rivers which are joining Teesta at Tribeni, okay, and this is the border. So from here to here the rivers are determining the border between Sikkim and West Bengal. So these two rivers are important tributaries of Teesta and join it in Sikkim itself, okay. So this was about Teesta river system. The next is, now we are going to talk about the right bank. We have talked about right bank, now we are going to talk about this side, the left bank tributaries of Brahmaputra river. So we will be starting with Dibang river. See, this is the general map, okay. So here the first left bank tributary is Dibang, then Lohit, then Dihing river, then Dhansari river, then this is the Barak river, okay. Barak river originates in the Manipur district, in Manipur state, and then it flows southward before taking a U-turn at Tipirmukh, and then it flows westward through Silchar district in Assam to meet Brahmaputra river in Bangladesh, fine. It meets it very close to its mouth. And Kopili river, the largest tributary of Brahmaputra river in Assam Valley. So these are the left bank tributaries. Now let's look at them one by one. So Dihang river is a principal tributary of Brahmaputra river. It rises in Arunachal state very close to the Indo-Tibetan border, and it enters the plain at Bomjir, okay. This is the place Bomjir, fine, okay. Bomjir is the place where Brahmaputra river is joined by Dihang river, fine. So this Dihang river, fed by glaciers as well as rainwater, is one of the very swift flowing river known for carrying tremendous volume of silt, and it chokes this region, okay. it chokes this region with its sediment. So innumerable, it here distributes into innumerable distributaries near Bomjir. The next is Lohit. Lohit originates in Tibet region. Okay, it flows southward. It is originating in Tibet. It is flowing southward, and then it enters Arunachal Pradesh. In eastern Tibet, it is known as Zayu, and it enters India in Arunachal Pradesh near Kaho village. So Kaho village is the place where Lohit river is entering. Fine, India, and thereafter it is flowing westward to enter Assam Valley, and near Parsuram Kund. Parsuram Kund is a place. Parsuram Kund. So this is the place where Lohit river is entering into the plains. It also carries tremendous volume of silt along with it, so it chokes this valley itself on entering plains, and then it meets Brahmaputra river. So it also bifurcates in numerous distributaries. It joins Brahmaputra river. Fine. Let's look at the other left bank tributaries. Dihing river. So this is Dihing river. Okay, Dihing river, eastern Himalayas of Arunachal Pradesh. This is the place where Dihing river is originating. It is flowing westward, as I have already told you, because this portion is an elevated portion. Okay, this portion is an elevated portion, so all the rivers which are originating from this side will flow in this direction. Okay, so Dihing river originates from the eastern Himalayas of Arunachal Pradesh or Purvanchal hills, and then it flows westward and joins Brahmaputra near Dihing Mukh. This is the place, Dihing Mukh, where Dihing river is joining Brahmaputra river, and it is known for changing its courses and forming numerous oxbow lake along its course. The next important river is Dhansari river. So Dhansari river, if you see, Dhansari river is originating from the state of Manipur. Okay, so the Manipur-Mizo border is the place where Manipur-Nagaland border is the place where Dhansari river is originating. So Dhansari originates from Laisang Peak in Nagaland. Okay, Laisang Peak in Nagaland is the place where Dhansari river is originating, and it is flowing northward in northern direction because this is the plain portion, low-lying region, and it is following the slope, so it is flowing northward. So Dhansari river flows northward through Dimapur district in Nagaland, and in Assam it flows through Golaghat district. Okay, these are the two districts through which Dhansari river is flowing. Chathe river is an important tributary. It is an important tributary of Dhansari river, and it enters Assam along the Karbi Anglong plateau. Okay, so Karbi Anglong plateau is here, somewhere here. This portion is called Karbi Anglong plateau. It is part of the peninsular plateau region. Okay, Meghalaya plateau here and Karbi Anglong plateau. These are considered to be an extension of peninsular plateau. So it flows along the plateau, and it finally meets Brahmaputra river near Golaghat. So the total length of this river, Dhansari river, is considered to be around 354 kilometers. The next and the largest south bank tributary or the left bank tributary of Brahmaputra is Kopili river. So Kopili river is considered to be the largest south bank tributary. Okay, so largest south bank tributary of Brahmaputra in Assam Valley. It is joined by Digaru river. So if you see Kopili here, if you see in this map Kopili, this is joined by Digaru river. Okay, Digaru river is an important tributary of Kopili river, and it is originating in Saipong reserve on Jaintia hill. There is a forest named Saipong reserve where the Kopili river is originating from Jaintia hills. Its total length is 256 kilometers, out of which 78 kilometers is a common border between Assam and Meghalaya, and the remaining 178 kilometers lies in Assam itself. So this was an important tributary of Brahmaputra, the Kopili river. Now the last river of the Brahmaputra river system, the Barak river. Okay, so if you see in this map itself, this is the origin point of Barak river, and this is how it is flowing. Okay, So it is an important and longest long river of the Brahmaputra river system, and it is joining Meghna river very close to its mouth. So many of the rivers in southern part of northeast India, like in the originating in the state of Manipur, Mizoram and Tripura, they are considered to be, they are the tributaries of Barak river itself. Okay, so river originating in these states, they join Barak river. So Barak river originates from Laikot Hills in Senapati district. Okay, so if you see this map here, this is the place where Barak river is originating. Okay, it originates in Senapati district of Manipur along the Manipur Naga border, and it flows southward. It flows southward up till Topai Mukh. Okay, and from Topai Mukh it takes a U-turn and it starts flowing northward. So from here it flows northward, and then on entering Assam it flows westward. It flows through the district of Silchar. Okay, Silchar is the district through which this river is flowing, and on entering Bangladesh it is joined by Surma river, and thereafter it is known as Meghna. So it is joined by Kushiari river then, and it is called Kushiari. But further along the course, the river changes its name as more and more tributaries are joining it, and thereafter it finally merges Meghna river, the Ganga Brahmaputra joint river. Okay, it is meeting them along the very near to the Bay of Bengal. Okay, and it is discharging its water in Bay of Bengal. So this was a general idea about important rivers of northeast India, the Brahmaputra river system. We studied about the Brahmaputra river originating from Chema Yongdung glacier, then flowing through Tibet known as Sangpo, then entering India in Arunachal Pradesh known as Siang river, thereafter entering Assam Valley where it is joined by Lohit and Dibang river, which are an important tributaries and carry most of the water of the river system. And thereafter Brahmaputra expands. Okay, in Assam Valley it expands. It has a width of around 5 kilometers in most of the parts. It is highly braided. It carries tremendous volume of water. The largest riverine island, Majuli River Island, is situated on Brahmaputra river itself, and its course from Sadia to Dhubri in Assam, the course of 750 kilometers, is highly braided. Okay, and every year in floods Brahmaputra is overflowing its bank and bringing havoc. So this was a general idea about the Brahmaputra river system, and I would tell you that we are going to start a course on PG CUET preparations from 1st of February, and I would request you to fill out the link given in the description to know more about the course details, fee structure and the test fees structure for the examinations. Okay, thank you for this today's class, and I would request you to reach out to us through ExamVat official on Telegram and ExamVat our YouTube channel. Hope to see you soon again with another video on rivers of India. Thank you so much.